And hey, everybody, here we are back in for another edition of Trey's Chow Down Live on Friday. And in the studio today, I have Andy.
What's up, Trey? How you
Hey,
doing, buddy?
good. With Meat U Anywhere. Or Meat U Anywhere, correct?
Meat U Anywhere, yeah.
And what's the other logo I have?
So that really came from, it says Texas Barbecue for Real, we ain't messing around. One of our very first customers when we opened up back in 2014 walks in, he goes, oh, man. Y'all ain't messing around. I'm like, that's a T-shirt, man. You know? And so I thought we're going to add that to our standard mark, and we kind of rolled with it. So,
well, when I pulled up over there, and I'll get this later, but when I pulled up over the first time and I saw the name Meat, I thought that was it. But then I had to look. I looked twice, right? Because the meat was spelled M-E-A-T, not E-M-E. So it was a neat deal, neat play on words.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so this is really neat. Last week on Saturday, I was over in Deep Ellum. I was over at Deep Ellum Distillery with the Vodka Boys. And there's a new restaurant opening up called Basic Taco, and this guy spent months building out this thing. It's extremely neat. He's cool. It's kind of like old world charm. He's got like 20-foot ceilings, and he's got like moss growing down the sides, and it's kind of like a Johnny Depp, like the Pirates of the Caribbean type movie type deal. It's really neat. You got a craft cocktail bar. Yep. I mean, it's really neat, but the tacos are phenomenal. So awesome. It's Basic Taco in Deep Ellum. It's open now. So if y'all haven't tried it, you try it. It's an awesome place to go. This is something I thought was really cool. Andy, I was talking about this to you earlier. Monday they came out, Dunkin' Donuts did, with a new ghost pepper donut. Strawberry and ghost pepper. Now, I bet you it can't be that hot. I'm going to try it, but I bet it can't be.
I'm the perfect demographic, man. You know what I mean? You are, yeah. Sweet and hot. I like
That's
it.
right.
I like it.
And BurgerFi, one of my favorite fast casual burger chains, came out this week also, too, with a spicy chicken sandwich. And they also have ghost peppers and stuff in their chicken. All the reviews I've read on it have been absolutely phenomenal, so I'm excited to go try it and see. And in Colleyville, we talked about this. They have a new dessert place called Dessert RX. And what's neat about it is RX is in the drugstore. All their desserts are made with no dairy, no gluten, and no refined sugars. So I think and they're getting awards for it. So I think that's phenomenal.
Really cool.
Yeah. Can't wait to go try that out. Our new page is up. If you like coastal food, Trey's Coastal Chow Down. We've been going for the last 3 or 4 years. We've been collecting content for that page for the last 2 decades. I've been traveling the highways and byways of Louisiana and Florida. Cool. And we have a bunch of stuff, and we've got we're featuring all kinds of seafood dishes, from fresh oyster dishes to crab and all kinds of stuff, lobster, anything you find on the coast, it's in there. And you check it out, like it. Trey's Coastal Chow Down, you'll enjoy it. Also, our Drink with Trey page. If you haven't been there, have you seen that page yet?
I haven't.
Oh, man, we're reaching 1 million people a week on that page.
Oh, that's phenomenal.
And we do a lot of memes, but it's basically about craft cocktails and bars in Dallas-Fort Worth and North Texas, Texas in general. And then also, too, we do a lot of funny memes. So it's about laughing. It's about being positive, laughing.
Absolutely, yeah.
And it really took off when COVID because people were home a lot. People need reason to laugh.
No doubt.
And I'm all about that. You know that.
No, there's no question. It cures a lot of ills right now,
It
right?
does, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Sometimes all you can do.
That's a fact.
All right, so now we're going to get into it with Meat U Anywhere and Andy.
Thanks for having us, man.
Yeah, man.
Gosh, we met years ago. You remember? We met at Fort Worth Food and Wine Festival.
Yeah.
And it's cool. I appreciate you having us out.
Yeah, I came over to see you. And they were really busy that day. I don't think you were there, but I came over for lunch.
Yeah, I was over at the Trophy Club store, and they said, some guy. And I'm like, I said, oh, man, Trey. I said, that's cool. I appreciate it.
Yeah, those ribs were delicious.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, they were really good.
Thank you.
And it was funny because I ordered, and sometimes when I walk in by myself, right, and I order a whole bunch of stuff, people look at. Like that day, I was wearing now I just wear baseball caps, so I don't,
incognito.
Yeah. I don't want to, especially during lunch. I don't want to screw anybody's business up.
Sure.
And I ordered all this food. Normally they look at me kind of funny. They were just slinging on the tray. They were placing it down, and
great.
I walked away. I thought they might say something, but I had a whole big tray of food. Yeah, it was all really good.
Thank you, man.
Brisket was good.
Thank you. Yeah, I think that's kind of the benchmark, right? In Texas, if you can kind of refine that craft on the brisket, then everything else falls into play. So
you got to have good brisket.
I think we got it dialed in.
You go into some places and the brisket might look good, but boy, if it's tough when you bite into it, it's not. It just kind of ruins your whole experience.
It does. And that's kind of the challenge for us too. Is that everybody comes in, everybody's a barbecue aficionado in Texas
now. Yeah,
you know what I mean. My brother and I, David, would joke about it, like, by that virtue, we're the Mexican food aficionados. As much Mexican food as we've eaten in our life, But the guys are doing a wonderful job. My wife Kirsten, in the very early days, said, if you expect to grow this thing and you're as good as you think you are, then you better train and develop people better so that you're a better set of eyes looking in. So I'm like, she's 100% right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so honestly, that's really been the craft is dealing with the science of it every single day, because conditions change every single day.
Yeah.
And, it's funny because too, on the craft side of it, people think that you have to have a 1,000-gallon tank and you got to manage and struggle. I'm like, man, I'm the baby of 10 in a Mexican Catholic family. That's all I've done is struggle my whole life.
Yeah.
So when we had the opportunity to get into it, we'd been using the J&R oiler out of Mesquite.
Right.
I was very familiar with it, and I thought, man, I want to eliminate that struggle. We've had friends that like jokingly say, "Oh, that's an easy bake oven." I'm like, no, it's not, man. I said it's about consistency, and you don't have to worry about, cranking this side of the pit to stoke it and damper it over here and crack this lid over here. I mean, it eliminates that piece of it, because dealing with folks, that have real world problems, talk about it now during COVID. I mean, I'm like, think about all the variables that you have. So you try to minimize. Yeah,
consistency is the key.
It really is.
So let's talk about where you grew up in West Texas.
I grew up in San Angelo.
Your dad came here. What did you tell me? 19.
My father came here in 1917.
Okay.
Yep.
And that was San Angelo?
In San Angelo,
okay.
Yeah, in the West Texas area. And then was fortunate enough to meet my mother in the 20s. So they married in 23. But, one of the things we talked about earlier is like, hey, to realize that things weren't going to get better in Mexico in 1917.
Right.
100 years later, they're not.
They're the same, pretty much the same.
Pretty much the same, but worse, right?
Yeah.
And so you look at it, and I'm like, look, what is that? That's our legacy. And so honestly, we celebrated being Americans. We never, rescinded the fact that, we're Mexican roots. And that's Texas, basically, right?
Right.
Yeah. Welcome to Texas. Habla español.
Well,
right?
Yeah. Well, San Angelo is Texas. West Texas is Texas.
For sure. For sure it is. Down the way is Brady. They call themselves the heart of Texas. But all roads go through San Angelo, right?
Right. That's
so
right.
It's been kind of cool, knowing that. And inevitably, I'll talk to somebody, oh, do you know so-and-so from San Angelo? I was like, oh, yeah, I grew up there. So it's been cool, but
Did your dad cook?
My father didn't cook at all, really. He worked for the railroad for about 51 years as a laborer. My mother was the matriarch, and at 9 years old, they grew up in the Pecos Valley.
Yeah.
So she, being a baby of 7 in the family, she literally was the lead campfire cook at 9 years old. So they managed the Hattay Ranch, which is a famous ranch in West Texas.
Sure.
And, they'd go out on the chuck wagon trail. She was literally butchering, goats and beef on the trail, on the cattle trail.
And to think that way of cooking's come back now is popular again.
No doubt. I mean, we look at David and I laugh about it all the time, and she's got all these, French techniques of braising and searing stuff. And I'm like, that's what we did our whole life. It's kind of funny,
Yeah.
But, we literally,
So she came from 7?
Yes.
And you're a family of 10?
10, yep.
So that's 17.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, it's kind of a long story in that respect. But my dad was my mom's. My mom was my dad's second wife. So had all his children lived, he would have fathered 22 kids, man.
Oh my gosh!
Thank God for cable TV, right? So, no, but literally. No, it was such a blessing. Honestly, looking back on it, they sacrificed a lot. They put all 10 of us through Catholic school. And you never really realize the appreciation for it until
you get older
in life, right? You're
right.
like, dang, man, what
vision
you did? Yeah, it was awful, But 69, 70, just there's a lot of tension going on in our world, similar to now. But in spite of it all, I mean, like they literally were planting the seed and just literally looking in the future for us and looking out for us, and like, wow, it's full circle now, man. And you're looking at it, and that's kind of I look at it now and I'm thinking, that's our legacy that we were able to inherit and make sure that, we had the vision to do better for our families and ourselves and our community. My father was big time into community and celebrated the Seis and Cinco de Mayo. And so we did that, our whole life growing up. We'd shut the streets down.
Yeah.
So there's nothing compared to what we did. I mean, literally, I've not seen anything in Dallas or Fort Worth compared to the scale that my dad used to put together. And in the background, my mom's cooking, there was a Catholic church right across the street, and it's funny growing up, going there, and you're falling asleep in church,
Yeah, right,
and
yeah.
you're looking for the for the very end of the service, and they're
Right.
going, okay, just before we close service today, we have a few announcements, and so they'd go, blah blah blah, cake sale, bake sale, and over at Sedino Plaza, they're doing tamales and menudo. The mass is ended. Go in peace.
Yeah.
I mean, and that was kind of like one of the things that stuck out in my head. And so, but honestly, we grew up with the soul of giving and serving the community, and we didn't know any better. And so I'm
Back
thinking,
then, supporting local
Exactly.
wasn't a trend. You had to.
exactly,
because you couldn't
exactly.
get
Those were
yeah.
literally your neighbors and your
Right.
family and everybody else. And so it was really kind of, it was embedded in our DNA. It's kind of our culture in West Texas, regardless of what ethnicity you were.
Yeah.
We didn't know any different, man. It's just kind of like we helped each other. The term homeless really wasn't around then. And so that's really prompted a lot of things in our, current and over the last few years that we've been open. We opened the storefront in 2014, but I launched the company in 2012 after I lost my job. And so I get a text one day that says, we're going the corporate route. Those plans don't include you. But,
Oh, what? You got to really?
oh, yeah. Yeah.
We're going to corporate. Those plans don't include you.
Right. And I was like, man, that was my corporate line when we had to let people go. So they kind of used it on me. And I'm like, that's cool. So we had our parting shots, and, we moved on. And obviously, it kind of brings you back to your roots, and you go, this is obviously the door got opened for
It's
us.
funny now
right?
to tell the story, but it wasn't funny then.
Oh, it was painful.
Yeah, I'm sure
It
you
was
were
painful.
stressed out.
No question, man.
When did you move Sangelo to here?
I got here in the late 90s, early 2000.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
So you were out there. You were out there the whole
My
time.
whole life. Yeah, my whole
Okay.
life. And
What did you do before barbecue? Before
I was in the restaurant bar business.
Oh, cool.
And we did well in the beginning. I had some partners, but it just changed. It was tough. And subsequently, I just decided when we did Meat U Anywhere, I was like, we ran out of space, first of all, in that first unit to do anything.
Yeah.
And then Grapevine having just the culture to lends itself to BYOB.
yeah,
I thought, man, that's what we're gonna do. It's kind of the fun thing about barbecue, being able to bring your own stuff in, and so it's
but
kind
you
of
know
worked
what?
out.
Barbecue is like all foods bring people together. But barbecue, especially in Texas, brings people together.
I think so.
It's a huge, and they'll wait in lines
Right.
for barbecue,
Right.
and they'll talk.
Right.
Man, you can be anywhere in the big barbecue.
Right. There's no
lines.
stranger, right?
No, right.
Yeah, because people want to share their enthusiasm about it.
Let's say before COVID, now
Correct.
they got to get over being scared to death,
Correct.
and get back to the way it used to be.
Correct.
And then,
But I think too, as much as we want to safeguard everybody, and we've done everything, that we possibly can. I won't get in an argument with somebody if they pile up in line,
Right.
I'm like going, hey,
you're not the police.
I can't,
Yeah.
I can't. And we've gotten to the point now where we're certainly letting them exercise, their distance and all that. But you're 100% correct that it is so communal, because we used to talk about barbecue, and so people convey that as grilling out, right? Depending on what part of
Right.
the country you're from.
Right.
Barbecue is something you went to.
Right.
We're
Yeah.
going to a barbecue.
Right.
So that in itself, has kind of changed a lot in perception and just the forefront of, pitmaster and all that stuff going on. So I think that's been great to highlight our industry right now, is kind of how we need to kind of group together as an industry and make sure that we stand up for ourselves, man.
Yeah.
That's the challenge. I think everybody's scared to death to voice their opinion. I'm like, look, I'm not.
They really are.
They are. Everybody's scared to death, and I'm like, look, I'm not ashamed to ask for help. Please come eat and support all restaurants. We need your help.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do it, and you ain't gonna see me in an unemployment line.
Right.
We literally dodged that and said, look, we told our staff, it's your right to go. Make sure if you feel unsafe, please do what you need to. Your job is here. I said, but we are going to be paying overtime, because the most indispensable resource we're going to need when this is all over and done is the human resource.
Right.
We're going to need each other.
Which has been hard to find lately.
Right. That's what a lot of
Yeah.
people have struggled
It's
to
been
do. What I
ridiculous.
hear, I haven't. We didn't
Yeah.
let anybody go. We kept everybody on 100%. We paid overtime when we had to, because it changed everything, right? We had to change the dynamics of how we
Right.
expedited food out. It was like, gosh, it only used to take one of us to roll a taco. We
Yeah.
open at 6 a.m. for breakfast tacos. Now it's kind of like, hey, give me gloves, give me a mask. It's
Yeah.
just kind of crazy.
Yeah.
It's just different. And so you wait, and it's not fun. It's
Yeah.
not fun, because you're kind of like, you're doing things instinctively. And I'm like, first of all, before this all started, why are people getting on social media or wherever else and go, we need to wash our hands? I was like, what'd you do before that, man? You know, it's kind of crazy. I'm like, this is actually the safest time to be eating in restaurants because our lives are on the line as well from being able to survive.
Restaurants have always been safe, though.
Right.
I mean, that's what the health department. I mean, y'all are always safe. And if you're going to stay in, a restaurant can't stay in business if it's not clean and healthy and sanitized.
That's exactly right.
Period.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So I think the public perception on that, we need help. We need help in people realizing that, look, you know, it's potentially hazardous to walk out of your house every day and, you know, drive down the road, right?
Right.
You know, no, as long as we're not doing anything out of, you know, just carelessness to make sure that we don't ensure public safety, I think we got to get over it and make sure that I said earlier, I was like, I don't want a new normal. I want to get back to normal. The only way you get back to normal is to get back to normal, right? But, you know.
Well, we're all grown ups, and that's the thing. People can police themselves.
Exactly.
They can wash their hands. They don't want to wash their hands,
sure.
and they have a problem. Or if they won't wear a mask and they have a problem, then it's on them. It's not on the restaurant. I mean,
no, for sure.
Or anybody in the public.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I think we got to be, you know, over the top. Make sure that we're doing everything to, you know, the perceived, you know, sanitation health standards, or, you know, that we exceed those standards. But as I was telling you earlier, it's funny because I literally called the health department when it was all breaking out. There's no mask required in February. There's none of this stuff going on. It was interesting. And I said, they go, well, you already got, you've already been, you know, inspected. I was going, I know, but, you know, people, I want you to be our devil's advocate because I don't see you as adversarial. You know, if the health department gives you the standard and we're exceeding your standards by virtue of, you know, inspections, then that should be great from the public perception standpoint, right? At that early in the game, they didn't have any standards. They didn't have any guidelines. So to me, I think it's just, you know, it's tough to swallow that pill when you have politicians, you know, county judges dictating how we do business. And I'm like, it's you know, it feels criminal to be indicted as an industry because remember, here's the funny thing to me. If you think back about it, you're going, hey, our dining rooms were perceived to be contamination zones. Right. Remember? We had to shut them all down.
Well, some of the people are still saying that.
Right.
And it's not fair.
It's not fair because I don't think that there's enough, you know, research to defend that. Now you walk in, I mean, we've been traveling all summer with baseball, my son and I.
I have been too.
Yeah. And so, I mean, we were, you know, just across the country, there's not a uniform policy. And so to me, I'm just like, okay, that's fine. You know, if you're going to give me the difference between wearing masks and shutting my doors down, of course we're going to wear the mask.
Right.
You know, but to me, I mean, one of the questions when a customer, you know, tried to gig me on it, was the gotcha police with me. I was like, sir, I respect 100% exactly what you're saying. And he's like, oh, okay. Because he wanted to be confrontational about it. I said, I'm not. I said, you know, you're an adult. I'm an adult. I'm not a doctor. You're not either. He's like, you know, those are the guidelines. I said, yeah, it's an executive suggestion, right?
I just don't think we all know enough right now to understand anything right now. I think in a couple of years after if they quit trying to shove tests and studies down everybody's throat, then and they have time to look at it and really take an objective appeal about it, then I think it'll come in.
Right. And I think, you know, I really appreciate, because this is about barbecue, you know, and people are going to see it, and I hope we, you know, don't get hate mail over it. But to me, here's the thing, you know, it's about survival in every respect. Right. You know, we know friends and family that have actually lost family members. I'm like, it's tragic. It's horrible, you know, and we don't wish that upon anybody. But to date, I don't know that anybody can attest to the fact that somebody has died from coming to eat at our restaurants. Right. You know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, we think about it and we're scared. You know what I mean? We're scared to death about it every day because, you know, talk about foodborne illness, man. You talk about all the things that happen, salmonella and botulism. I'm like,
just the daily operation of a restaurant is tough, period, in general.
Right. It really, really is. So, you know, to me, I'm thinking, okay, we're not really doing anything different.
You didn't have to change temperatures. You don't have to change any of that stuff. You don't have to change your cleaning standards because you were doing all that. Right. So to me, I think, you know, we really need help from the public perception standpoint, from the Restaurant Association, all that. They're doing all they can, I think. You know, to me, I think, you know, this is when they need to hear our voices louder, you know, and get up in front of them and say, look, enough is enough, man. We've got to get to the point where, you know, if it's going to be politically motivated and you're going to force us to take government money to keep our doors open, then come to the table, you know, and quit putting nonsense in these budgets that, you know, don't make any sense and they don't do anybody any good. You know, I'm thinking like,
either that or just say, look, there's no end in sight, so we can move on. But what are so many places going to do? It's like we talked about. You got all the just in the barbecue segment alone. When you look at it, you're like, all those poor people, man, that were rolling along 2017, 2018, and they're in the barbecue top 50 in Texas Monthly. I mean, they've lost everything, man.
Yeah.
And it's hard. It's hard and it's sad. And you see change, a ton of chains, that have the capability, to be able to sustain themselves. So many of them are filing for bankruptcy.
Right.
So it's tragic in that standpoint. And it doesn't make it fun, but you do have to laugh at times. You're kind of going like, hey, man, the beauty of it is, and the blessing is that, we were able to shrink that 80 to 90% down in daily losses, to 40 or 50. It's getting better every day. And I think as long as we continue to do the right things and, earn the public confidence to get people back in the office spaces.
Well, you gotta work to get them back.
That's for sure.
And what the sad thing is that you have to work to get them back, and it's not your fault.
For sure.
And you shouldn't have to work to get them back. I
agree. Yeah.
I just, So how did you get the Meat U Anywhere name? How did that come about?
Thank you. This is funny. So my wife, Kirsten, posted something and said, pray for us on this new venture. We had Sedino Catering, right? My kids had been blessed enough to get in on the lottery over at Westlake Academy at the time. And so they started there in kindergarten. Both of them, Grant and Tinley, did. And so one of the families read the post and said, hey, we're having a party out here at Vaquero. We'd like for you to, we'd love to help you out and support you. And so we get to talking, and she goes, do you have a website? I'm like, no, not yet. And so she's hammering me with all these questions. I'm like, man, we're a week into this thing, and I wasn't prepared. I'm just kind of like trying to pay the bills, making sure that we can stay afloat, right? And I said, no, that's fine. So we finally come up with a menu, and she goes, okay, so are you delivering? Am I picking up? And I was like, once you decided on everything, just, let me know, and I'll meet you anywhere. I'm like, oh, that's my name right there, man.
That's really how it came out. That's
really
awesome.
Is, yeah. It was Deanne Jeppesen from Vaquero, called me up, and that's really a blessing. It's just friends and family, that come to our aid in the very early days to support us, and then they actually love the food, and love the story, and so it's like anything else, man. You can't really do it on your own, and that's what I'm saying. This whole crisis that we're going through. It's like, isn't it easier right now to, go in and support businesses while they're still here and not take, this position as like, yeah, I knew they weren't going to make it anyway. Because I saw somebody post something about Heim, and I love that he rebutted and said, like, whatever he said. I mean, he basically called him an idiot, I guess, which I think, I don't have the courage to do that because I'm so worried about what people are going to think, but here I am saying stuff. But I think it was cool that he said something, because I'm like, because somebody wrote something about him one day too, and I said, yeah, you got to give him a break. We have stuff, we have human error, we're dealing with stuff. No restaurant operator purposely goes out to set the bar low. Nobody does.
Social media is just a different animal, though.
It is. It is. But once we got off on that that deal, that the whole Meat U Anywhere thing, we just said, came back, and I had a buddy who lived across the street, and I said, hey man, I know exactly what I want the logo to look like. I said, Texas Ranger badge is kind of quintessential Texas, and so it's got that.
Yeah, you never want Texas Rangers after you.
Yeah. And then you have the horseshoe represents you for good luck, and then there's a Lone Star Texas, and then the heck, if we were the least bit successful, those little 4 stars will kind of represent the 4 corners of the earth. Yeah. So that's our story, right? Well, to date, we've been blessed with the brand. We're shipping internationally.
So do you ship internationally?
We do ship internationally.
So you shrink wrap the
shrink wrap. Okay. Everything's cryovac. We how-to instructions. We have a couple of how-to videos. How to reheat the stuff. So
what's your most popular thing you ship? Is it brisket?
Brisket and a lot of the rubs. You know. So as I was telling you earlier, the rubs are what the kids came up with.
Yeah, I was just fixing to ask you. Yeah. So the rubs are what the kids came up with, and that's their company.
Yep.
And you have I see you got salt and you got pepper.
We got sea salt. We got a cracked pepper here. They got the brisket rub, the trail dust.
What is the trail dust? I like that name.
Interesting. That's interesting. So, so the trail dust, actually, I don't know if y'all remember the old trail dust restaurants, right?
Oh, yeah.
So, my real estate partners, I consulted with them, and they're like, hey, we think we may want to revamp the concept. Would you help us run it for a while? We look at it and see if we want to spend the money there, but we definitely like the real estate. So we operated it, you know, they ended up buying it out. We worked on it. I kind of launched Meat U Anywhere from there. We started putting barbecue on the menu. And just the seasoning that they had for their steaks, you know, Jose Ramirez was there, and he's the master. He was at Old San Francisco Steakhouse, and Ernesto Perez.
I like that place, Old San Francisco
Steakhouse,
Steakhouse, yeah.
And so, you know, you had great roots. And so I just said, you know, what are you seasoning the steaks with? And he goes, well, we just kind of mix salt, pepper, and garlic, you know. So it was good, you know. When we started the packaging, I was going, hey, man, I'm going to have my kids come up with something for you because this is our brisket rub, this is our turkey rub. He goes, your kids, and he didn't think about it. He probably thought they were in their 20s, you know, whatever. Yeah. They're actually 7 and 9. Yeah. You know, and they'd come up with the spices because when all this came about and, you know, I got that text, I thought, man, they're not going to be the owners' kids. They're going to be the owners. And so I thought I wanted them to have the perception of like, look, we're going to build something. We're going to have something. You know, if we're the least bit successful, then we're going to have to buy it from somewhere. Why not buy it from the kids? Right. So this is your college fund money. So Grant and Tinley came up with it. Stuck their little fingers down in there, you know, wrote it down in a little yellow legal pad. We took it to lab out at the North Texas Spice out in Hazel. Right. And they blended it for us, you know, and they got us a little control sample. They stuck it in. They go, I think it needs more of this. They stuck their little fingers in and tried it. And we cooked for our neighborhood, man. Everybody was like, damn, that was so good. So we knew we were onto something. So we get the packaging done, and I thought, well, heck, we got to make barbecue sauce. I had a big old job that I was able to get over in Denton County. Right. And it was the CoServe Electric, their big annual meeting, right? Right. And so anywhere from 2,800 people to 3,200 at that time. And so I'd been catering that in years. I've been catering the event years, you know, with my other company. And so I thought, man, here I am outside churning a big old stock pot of barbecue sauce for 3,000 people. I'm like, this is ridiculous, man. You know, and then I got to think, it's like the packaging's not there. We don't have the consistency. We're not going to be able to do that. But, you know, to me, that event that we were able to take over, I was like, man, that's a captive audience of 3,000 people right there. So once we took off, people loved it. I was like, we're ready to launch the brand, you know, on the sauce end of it. So every ounce of sauce that goes into it has their brisket rub in it. So they've got the brisket, they've got the barbecue sauce. And then in about 2016, you know, my daughter and son were asking, like, why don't we have water? I was like, what do you mean? They go, why don't we have our own bottled water? And I'm like, that's a good idea. So we started doing the research and we launched it. And we started out with a really cruddy bottle, you know.
Yeah, I like the bottle. Bottle's really pretty. Yeah,
we made a significant investment in these.
Yeah, you notice how cheap water bottles have gotten.
Correct.
They're ridiculous.
Yeah,
they just get thinner and thinner. You know, some of it, if you get the pressure right, they'll rip in your hand.
Oh, we've had them where they'll sit, you know, sideways. I'm like, I take pictures and send it back to the manufacturer. I'm like, dude, you know, if we put our brand on something like that, you know, people would beat us up about it. I said, you guys have no shit.
It'd be your fault.
No, exactly. You know, and it's sitting there sideways. So I'm like, we're going to make an investment in a great looking bottle.
What is West Texas Heat?
So the West Texas Heat, if you think about it, the grit in West Texas, man, you've got some West Texas roots, and you think about the grit when you're walking, stuff blowing through your teeth or whatever. Right. Yeah. Yeah. You know, so it's I didn't want to make it so peppery hot that people couldn't stand it. I think that's the mistake a lot of people mask their flavors. Right. For me, I just thought, man, I want kind of a peppery finish to it. So it's really primarily got a lot of white pepper, black pepper, a little bit of cayenne, but it's not so overbearing. So it's got a very smoky flavor to it, honestly. Right. And the base of it is the sticky red, you know. So we're doing molasses, brown sugar, you know.
I like that name, Sticky Red.
Yeah. Tomato sauce, and then, you know, the garlics, the onions, you know, salt and pepper and all that. Yeah. And so I thought, man, that's a natural fit to make sure that the kids are incorporating this. And then when you're taking it to blenders, you know, the big packing companies, I'm like, that's an easy thing. They pick up the phone, they call this packer and say, I need this much of the brisket rub or this much of the cracked pepper because we're making a, you know, 8,000 bottle run of the bottle of sauces, you know. So kind of simple, you know. We did a lot of behind the scenes work to do all that stuff.
Where do you store all of it?
Well, you know, the great thing about it is that we were able to get a SKU number for it. We're doing so much volume that we're able to get it into Cisco.
Ah.
So Cisco gets it from the packer,
And then you get it from Cisco.
Exactly.
So you let them store it.
Exactly. So it's
Smart idea.
Yeah, you just kind of like, you let everybody do what their specialty
Yeah.
is, right? So you can focus on building the business.
My granddad always said, and he was very successful, concentrate on what you can do, hire people to work with you.
Right.
Let them do their job. Don't micromanage them.
Right.
And the business will flourish.
Right.
Right. So
for sure. Yeah. Yeah. And I think that we're the dumb barbecue guys, right? So nobody gives us much credit for stuff like that. And so to me, kind of like the struggle we were talking about earlier, I'm like, hey man, the last thing I want to be doing out there, because trust me, when I first got started, I had a little trailer pit.
Yeah.
And I was that guy that was out there tweaking this damper door, doing this, trying to figure out and formulate the recipes. I'm like, cannot wait till we have some J&Rs in house that I know how to manage. We know how to, I can teach somebody how to cook on those. So I'm like, because everybody has the perception is like, I'm going to sleep out here by my pit. I'm going to take care of it. I'm like, that's great. That's passionate.
Yeah.
But you can't build a business that way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so you build it through the front door and you make those contacts. It's funny because I met one of the owners outside and we were talking and he goes, you remember me? I used to come in and you used to call me W. And I'm like, oh my God, I didn't recognize you, man. He didn't have his glasses on, but we had so
outside
many.
the studio.
Correct. And I was like, wow, we had so many people out there. I'm like, look, those are the relationships that you're able to build, and you dream of building that type of culture within your walls, and it's esoteric. You start in the beginning, you don't really know how it happens, but it just happens. And so honestly, my brother David works for the Catholic Diocese. He came in to help me, and had a background with the Dallas Morning News and Star Telegram. He was high up in the paper. He was a correspondent for AP down in Mexico. And
those things have just shrank.
Yeah, so he's smart enough to get out and was doing lifelong work with the Catholic Diocese. And so he's like, hey man, I'm just gonna have a talk with you, and I don't want you to get offended by it. He goes, but you're a legitimate company now, so you need to look to look like it, right? So the packaging was real critical.
Packaging's always critical.
It is.
And sometimes it's the last thing somebody thinks about.
Exactly.
But it should be part of the first once you get your recipes down.
Yeah, for sure.
We've got some food here too. I want to start bringing some food in.
Okay, sounds good.
Let's. Can we start bringing some food in, please, Chris? Oh, they can hear me. Yeah, they'll start bringing it in here.
No problem. Yeah. I brought my buddy Hector Pomar from San Angelo. He's been with me a little over a year, so he's gathering some stuff, and I brought a little bit of everything because the cool thing about it is, in living in West Texas, honestly, if you ask my brother David if he likes goat.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, the funny face he just gets tired of it. He's like, we ate so much goat growing up, like the week before Easter. And every Saturday during the summer, my uncles were at our house. We were smoking a goat, or my brother was trying his hand at a brisket. And back in the 70s, I mean, literally, you wrapped up a brisket in foil, and it was done when that thing was shredded apart, right? Right. You just cooked the hell out of it.
Yeah.
And so they'd make like deshebrado tacos off of it. As long as you had some good spicy
What'd you call it?
It's called deshebrado, like shred.
Yeah, so you could. I can't say it like you could say it. Yeah. I can't say it like that. You have that accent to it.
I do.
You make it sound official.
It's kind of funny. People don't think I can speak Spanish, but I do. I do. It's funny. Yeah.
You make it sound good.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite thing? What took you the longest to hone in? Was it brisket?
I think so. Yeah, I think so, because I think that, you look at the variables of it, and you're really just trying to minimize those variables on a day-to-day basis, Yeah. And the wood's going to be different every day. We use oak and hickory. The ratio changes a little bit depending on the size of the sticks that you're getting from Gourmet Woods or, whoever you're using. But, you got to get great wood. So Gourmet has been the absolute best. He's out of kind of unincorporated Fort Worth over on Rendon Road.
Yeah.
He's phenomenal.
I think I've seen him. He's got a little place over there.
Got 100 acres out there, but it's phenomenal. It's just kind of a mini logging operation. They'll bring the big logging trucks in there. They skin them. It's quite an operation. But anyway, he's been a fantastic partner. You get on the phone, get Maria to get the wood order in. And so that takes one of the pieces out. Then, people said, well, you're getting like 44 farms, you're doing all that. I'm like, I never took my hand. I never took my hand or put my hand involved with any of the prime meats, because I looked at it from a marketing standpoint. And I thought, man, somebody's got to pay for it, and I just didn't want it to be sticker shock. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I'm like, here, first of all, we opened the restaurant to make money to be able to sustain our family, right?
Sure.
And I think the prime is phenomenal. I think you can get it. You know, a lot of people
Because they
say,
went the corporate route.
exactly, and exactly. So to me, I was just kind of like, you know what? I think what we do, if we're true culinarians,
Yeah.
you know, if we're true pit masters,
Right.
whatever the hell that means,
Yeah.
then we should be able to you know, hone in on that craft and figure out how to you know, make it right.
Yeah.
So you know, and so we basically, from the business perspective, I think that's the thing that's given us so much levity during this crisis, is that we're so far ahead of the curve in trying to make sure that we monitored the whole commodities piece, right?
You know what I noticed when this all has happened?
Yeah.
And I told her by this, but I noticed that when all this happened, that the barbecue guys,
Yeah.
all of them were the ones that were doing better than everybody else.
Yeah.
Because they were already set up for to go
Right.
and basically curbside. And,
Sure.
you know, I mean, I watched them. Some of them were humming. I mean, humming.
Yeah, they did a phenomenal job. You know, for us, we had some people go, hey, we want to support you. You know, some of the other barbecue places are selling raw briskets and this and that. And I was like, that's a great idea. For us, I'm like, I just don't want to get into that, because, you know, my hope has always been, is like, this is all going to be, you know, handled and you know, come to a level that we can manage it. And I just didn't want to set that perception or that expectation for people, like, hey, well, I was buying them from you raw for $40. I'm like, man, I can't even buy a brisket for $40.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I just didn't get into that, where I was selling toilet paper and paper towels. And I'm like, hell, if I can get paper towels and Lysol, I'm keeping it.
Yeah.
You know?
First of all, you don't have enough. I mean, your place is not
Right.
What I saw wasn't that big to do
well,
all
the
that.
Grapevine location is not, you know, we have a mammoth location over in Trophy Club.
Right.
And,
we're going to talk about that. Yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, it's a huge facility. That was actually supposed to be the first location.
Ah.
Yeah. I mean, the day that I lost my job.
Well, how times change.
Right. And so, you know, the town of Trophy Club, the assistant town manager at the time, Steven Seidel, calls me. He goes, hey, man, I don't know if you remember me, but we met you on your tour years ago with your other company. And I said, yeah. He goes, we heard about that whole situation. It sucks, man. He goes, but it's good for us. I said, oh, yeah? He goes, yeah, man. We'd love to have you look at some facilities over here. I said, oh, great, man.
Oh.
So we literally looked at that current piece of land right there on the corner of 114 and Trophy Club Drive.
Yeah.
And, you know, went from there. I'm like, man, this is going to be awesome. So we looked at the piece of land. We ultimately, you know, started the Grapevine location first, and then, you know, moved on to the Trophy Club location.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Oh, man. Look at that. Where'd you buy these at?
Yeah. Isn't that great?
Man, those are awesome.
Yeah. So as you can tell, they're really.
I love these little plates, too.
Thank you, man. Yeah.
Wow, look at this.
So check it out. I think the coolest part for us is that, you know, that whole piece that we talked about, you know, culturally in Texas, you know, so we wanted to do something different, but literally, you know, hone in on the roots of what our flavors are growing up. And as you can see, there's some fat tamales right there, man.
This is awesome.
Thank you, man. So that's a chicken hatch.
Chicken hatch?
Chicken hatch. I buy all our masa from Cardona. So you know that masa's good.
I know Benny, baby.
Yeah, man, they're phenomenal. Mary and Benny are phenomenal people. So check that out.
They run a fine organization over
they're
there.
Great people. You know, sweet salt of the earth. Look at that.
Hang on, man.
Yeah.
Look at this brisket, Ron. Let me see if I can turn this around here. Look
Yeah.
at that. Look at
the
that.
bark on that, baby.
Look at that bark. You know, I have a term I call barkalicious.
Thank you, man. I like that. We're gonna steal that.
Look at the thickness. That is just beautiful brisket. Look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So then we did, you know, a smoked brisket tamal. So I thought, you know, growing up, as I was telling you, you know,
Right.
the masses ended going peace. I mean, as a kid, I remember standing on a little metal chair at, you know, 5 and 6 years old, grinding the pork by hand,
Right.
man.
I got to try this real quick.
Yeah, help dig in, brother. It's really good.
We keep talking.
Yeah. So that's good that, you know, hatch chili being in, you know, through basically October. I'm like, man, you know, we can get it through. Cisco actually has a great product, you know, and people that, you know, get the hatch. I mean, you get it.
That's
you
good.
roast it and then
Boy, it tastes good.
And then phenomenal. Really, really good. So
So you're roasting the hatches too?
No, actually we started
Okay.
doing that. It got way out of control, man.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Because it's a process.
we were doing so damn many of them. I'm like,
Yeah.
man, we're wasting time doing this.
Yeah.
surely, Cisco, we were buying a ton at Central Market.
Yeah.
We were buying them out by the caseloads. We would go in, we'd go over to Tom Thumb, we'd buy 2 cases, of Hatch when this all started during the season. I'm like, that's crazy, man. We're focusing on the wrong thing.
Yeah. You're a market.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
And so, it was great, but I thought, surely Cisco's got this. Well, actually, Cisco has the exact same thing. It's less expensive. It's already done for you. I can get it in, that's what that is, the Hatch chili.
Some of those companies now have got some great products. It's not like it used to be 15, 20 years ago. In the last decade, I'm going to say in the last decade, things have changed so much about getting even fresh products from.
For sure.
Yeah.
Because it's simplification. You know what I mean? And there again, what are you focusing on? You're focusing on your guests that are really paying your bills, man.
Yeah.
You can focus on the customer service level. I'm like, you may think you can beat us at Brisket. You may think you can beat us at, tacos and tamales, but you can't beat us on the customer service end.
No, you know what I mean?
Can't.
No.
We're gonna treat you like you're in our home, and so that's been the beauty of it. This one right here is phenomenal, man. It's a turkey and dressing.
What is it?
Turkey and dressing tamal.
Are you serious?
Dude.
Turkey and dressing tamale.
Turkey and dressing tamale. And you got to dip a little bit of that cranberry.
I'm going to.
Little cranberry Carolina sauce.
Don't worry.
Okay.
Man.
Isn't that
How'd
good?
you come up with that one?
I'm telling you, man. We like to eat, dude. So we literally blended it. We got the masa from Benny and Mary over there, and we used our turkey rub on there, man. So we seasoned the masa with their turkey rub. Doesn't it taste exactly like
it does.
Stuffing?
It does.
And then the boys will get whole turkeys from Cisco. We'll stick them in our big steam kettle, and we'll cook it in there with a mirepoix and turkey seasoning and just really heavy stock, and then use that stock reduction and blend the turkey in there.
He brought me forks like I was going to eat with a fork.
Damn
I eat with my hands, damn. Everywhere I go, I eat with my hands.
I mean, Mexican.
I'm a big hand eater.
Yeah, Texas and Mexican food, right? That's
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell, I eat pretty much everything out of the hands because I just like it. Just I don't know. Just went.
I agree with you.
So this is now. Which one is this?
This is the smoked brisket with chile con carne.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Man, that's good.
Thank you, man. Yeah. No, it's been a blessing to be able to do all these different items, and just kind of highlight what the capability of our staff, Jose, Hector, and boys.
So before I forget, I want to say some people who don't know what we're talking about. It's called Cardona Foods over there.
Yeah.
And they have some incredible products. They're a family
over 100
business.
years, right?
Over 100 years. Yeah,
it's phenomenal. And for me, I look at it and I'm like, look, that's exactly what we need to do is couple our brand. Look at that.
Hey, now that's what I had that day, and it was
St. Louis cut ribs.
Oh
yeah,
my goodness.
Yeah. So that's the center cut of the pork rib, which a lot of people will do the big pork rib. To me, I wanted it to be the best flavor. This is our jalapeno cheddar, which, again, a lot of the guys are out there.
Yeah.
And I admire them for coming up with all these, Frito pie sausage and this and that. And I'm like,
right.
You know what? I know Syracuse and I know the family really well.
Yeah.
They do a hell of a job. Everybody else is doing kind of a regular German sausage. I wanted to do the jalapeno cheddar because I didn't want it to be like everybody else's.
Let me see
Yeah,
that.
dig in.
I love jalapeno sausage.
Yeah, it's phenomenal.
I'll tell you what, everything just looks absolutely phenomenal.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Hang on, good.
Yeah, that's the best part of it is it's good.
Got a little snap to it.
Yeah. Because we talked about that. It's such a sad testament that we have so many. We have probably the worst representation of Texas barbecue. It's got the most units out there to represent us. And it's sad because at one time they probably were good. Yeah. It's just you lose control of it. And so many big brands. I mean, you're a studied guy, and you read stories about. Even like Schlitz Beer. Remember Schlitz, how great it used to be?
Yeah, it was big. When we were kids, it was huge.
So literally, there's a story about Schlitz, and it talks about the guy that came in. It was a bunch of bean counters, and they decided that the way to make the company successful was to change and speed up the fermentation process. And so by doing that, they
changed the whole flavor profile.
They were the number one. I mean, like Miller was chasing them, Budweiser was chasing them, but Schlitz had it. Go for the gusto, right?
Right.
And so they changed their formulation on it, and started putting this silica in there to be able to give the beer foam and all this stuff. And I'm like, what a epic mistake, right? To think that how can we do this cheaper to make more money? That's not how you do it.
It only takes one mistake like that.
Yeah,
right?
It's bad. So we, from a branding standpoint, from the, just the quality of the food standpoint, I'm like, man,
crazy.
Yeah.
Now I want to talk about these. Can I see this camera right here? Look how big these ribs are. Look at this. Oh boy, look how big these ribs are right here, y'all. These things are huge. Oh, you got them in. They got ribs in the studio in there, in the control room.
They're going more.
Oh my gosh,
it's funny.
All right, that's not fair.
That's too funny.
This is awesome. Okay, so what are these right here?
So these are, we do the smoked chicken poblano enchiladas. But we said, okay, we're already doing hatch. We've got hatch in house. Why don't we kick it up a little bit and start making a hatch, green chili,
right,
chicken and brisket.
This
enchilada.
Is phenomenal.
So I do those on Wednesday. Everybody does Taco Tuesday and Taco Thursday. So we do Tamale Thursday and Tamale Tuesday. And we feature all of those. And then Wednesdays we do the enchiladas. So some of my biggest fans and supporters of that, Daniel Vaughn loved those from Texas Monthly.
Yeah.
Newey Scruggs, Chris Gutierrez, who moved on. He's down in Houston. He's my buddy. And Rick Mitchell, all the gang over there at NBC.
Yeah.
And I think the only reason we haven't gotten the Dallas crowd is because we're so far away from them.
You're not far away. I drive over there just to eat a hamburger. You're not far away. It's just they just got to want to do it.
Right. Well, they got to know us. They got to know about us too. You know what I mean? You get set in your ways and you go to your places, but there's a reason to come out and try something different. Now.
Yeah.
We got a little bit of everything for, we got the Mexican and the Texican. So, yeah.
Well, you've got all kinds. Your menu's big.
It is.
I mean, you got a big menu, and the thing about it is that everything I've tried has always been good, consistent, and a lot of flavor.
Thank you, man.
And that's important.
I agree. Yeah, I think it's simplified. We give people a lot of options. It's funny we're talking about the whole social media piece, right?
But you don't put it out there till it's perfect. Yeah, but
yeah, the guy a guy comes in. I read a review, and he gave us a 1 because we didn't have plates. And I'm like, the hell's wrong with you, man? It's just funny to me because people come in, they go, y'all ain't got any plates on the menu. And to me, I'm looking at them like, well, you can create whatever plate you want. I said, wouldn't you rather have a choice, right? Go into a place and be able to have a choice of what you want, not what we're trying to sell you.
It's not. So that's from back in the day.
No, exactly.
That's from back in the cafeteria.
Exactly.
I call them cafeteria barbecue days.
Yep.
Which there are some. There are no names, but there are some. So like,
sure.
We all have to survive
for sure.
And sometimes that's people's favorite place to go.
Exactly.
But in a place like y'all, I'll give you an example. I was up at a new barbecue place in Idabel, Oklahoma last month. It's an incredible barbecue place. The guy's ex-chef. I mean, craft barbecue place. I mean, the food was phenomenal. And I went up to and I ordered, and I started ordering by the half pound.
Yeah.
And the guy at the restaurant just stopped me and goes, "Hey, man, I just got to tell you, thank you so much for ordering like this." He said, "We are trying to get people up here to do this.
Right.
And all they want is plates and chopped sandwiches." And
exactly.
He said, "Thank you so much." And then 3 or 4 people behind me were doing it.
Oh, yeah.
So it was I think some people that don't know.
It's a Texas thing.
It's a Texas thing.
It is a Texas thing because I did the same thing. My niece, David's daughter, married a young man from Kansas City.
Yeah.
So we went beautiful wedding, beautiful ceremony, and the whole Texas contingency goes up, and he did fajitas on Thursday night. Then they had a really beautiful, lavish deal on Friday night, and then in the midst of it, we had some meals on our own.
Right.
So we go and we tried Oklahoma Joe's, which is now Kansas City Joe's, right? It's just different. It's just very, very different. The brisket looked like Arby's. Honestly, it was kind of shaved,
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with it. Just no comparison. To me, I'm thinking like, why in the world would you go to painstaking trouble of coming up with a great formulation for something, smoking it all those hours, and then put it on a slicer and shave it, ribbon thin? It makes no sense. But that's I'm not dogging them on it. It's just kind of different,
Every this
regionally, right?
Regionally, but what's funny? What I've even noticed is sometimes it's even citywide now. I mean, like I can go to like one city in Fort Worth and get something different than I can get.
Right.
It's just geographically. Barbecue's geographical.
Right.
But Texas barbecue as a whole. But that's why it's so popular now. Now they're doing Texas barbecue in New York.
It's exactly right.
In California.
That's exactly right.
In Miami. And all those places.
Yeah. That's their version.
So what does that tell you?
Exactly. I think we're doing something right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And everybody and you're shipping everywhere. Come on now.
Yeah.
You're not shipping it because they're throwing it in the trash can.
No, that's exactly right. And so people want it. They want to do their own. There's a lot of do-it-yourselfers, obviously, and so the beauty of it is that they'll get the brisket rub to do it on their own. they'll call and ask for it, and so it's kind of cool, man. You know. I think Hector wants to see if you know how to cut, man. I'm just kidding.
Oh, it's awesome. Oh, wow.
Yep.
This is fantastic.
Yeah, man.
Here, Hector, let me give you that. Don't throw it away because I'm going to eat it later. Yeah.
Check it out.
This is awesome.
I don't know that anybody's done this on live. We're cutting live, man. So anyway.
Let's have some of that. Let's scoot some of those spices over here so you can move that board over a little bit.
Yeah.
This is awesome. Let me have those 2 spices right there, Andy. And we'll center this up a little bit on the table. There we go.
Cool.
Ron, give us that top camera. There we go. Look at that.
All right, man. So this.
Wow. Look at that.
This is the pepper tenderloin.
Awesome.
So
pull that microphone a little bit to you.
Absolutely, yeah. So obviously we cooked this early when we got here, and it sat in that Canberra a little bit, so I lost a little bit of the rareness.
No, it looks fantastic.
But it's good, man.
It looks fantastic. Oh my gosh! Look at the size. You see these beef ribs? Oh my Lord!
Yeah. So that's the beauty of it. You know, we always tell people, it's like, you only know a true barbecue joint if they do a beef rib, right? I mean, you think about it. Only the true Texas barbecue joints are doing beef ribs. So people may say, oh, I've got a barrel pit. You know, you guys have got the little easy bake oven. I'm like, yeah, it's cool, but you don't do beef ribs, bud. You know what I mean? So until you start doing beef ribs.
Look at this. How much does this weigh, you think?
So this is about 3 pounds.
3 pounds for that. So it's about a pound each.
Yep. Here's the beauty of it.
So this is going to be awesome.
Oh, dude. Check it out.
Look at that. Look at that right there. Yeah, it's okay. You got to do it until you can get down. Look how thick that thing is.
Look at that, baby.
Look at that. Look at that. I could hit somebody over the head with this right now.
I'm telling you, man.
Look at that. Wow.
Yep.
That just looks phenomenal.
Thank you, man.
And look at this is just, the big thing for me is I love beef ribs.
Yep.
And, you can't, the thing is, you can either do a beef rib right, or you can't eat it. There's no in between on a beef rib.
Right.
And, God, they're just so delicious. And when you get those people, like people who don't know, like my social media has gotten a lot bigger.
Yep.
And I have people, I look at it weekly. I'm talking from, different parts of the country, Europe, and they see something like this. They're like, what? Is that a dinosaur? They always say, is that a dinosaur meat or something?
Right.
Because they don't know.
Right.
Unless you're honed in close to Texas barbecue, you don't know what that is. It just looks massive.
Right. So, and I've read some stuff on it. The biggest thing that I've seen when people want to complain about them, it's buyer's remorse, man.
Yeah.
Because because they'll look at it and they're like, damn, I can't believe I just spent $28, $25. I'm like, so did I.
Yeah.
From a food cost standpoint, it wasn't cheap to buy it to cook it for you either, man. So the people that are true lovers of it, they have no problem buying quality, buying the best, right, and enjoying it. I'm like, for today we eat like kings. I mean, what a better statement than when you eat a big beef rib like that. That's
you
delicious.
only live once, baby.
That's exactly right.
That's it.
And so the cool thing about it, is that the people that do enjoy it, they're like going, oh my God, this is so good. I've had them all over Texas. Yours are the best. And so we'll have people at Christmas time that'll order 4 or 5 racks, for the whole family.
Yeah.
And they go, yeah, what we do, man, is if everybody's over, we'll slide it right off the bone. We'll get your little sliders, and then everybody's eating a slider. The people that don't like them, are like going, they're so greasy, so fatty. I'm like,
that's the flavor, baby. That's the flavor.
I was going, do you know how long it would take? Why don't y'all trim them? I was like, what in the world's wrong with you, man? It's not stew meat. I mean, what are you talking about? So it's crazy.
But that's a lot that a lot of people watch the Cooking Network, and they don't. The Cooking Network doesn't really do a lot of Texas barbecue.
No, they don't.
So it's
they don't.
So okay, before we get out of here, Andy, tell everybody how they get your social media. What's your social media handles?
So we're at Meat U Anywhere BBQ.
That's MEAT.
MEAT. The letter U represents you anywhere barbecue. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and come see us. So here's the deal. Especially with all the distancing, our Trophy Club location at 91 Trophy Club Drive, perfect for those settings because I've got 7,100 square feet. We've got banquet space in the back. You know, we've had some groups that are like taking advantage of that space. I have the Vietnam veterans that meet there once a month. They finally started meeting again. It gives them enough space to be able to do that.
Cool.
But yeah, it's been an amazing blessing. I appreciate you having us.
Yes, sir.
I enjoy your show, and I just ask everybody to give
support
local, help everybody out in the community. You know, let's get through this together, and you know, don't be so self-righteous, man. Help us out, you know, and if we do something that's short of your expectations, let us know so we can fix it right away. Right?
Trey'sChowdown.com. We'll be here next week, same time, same bad channel. Meet You Anywhere, Grapevine, Trophy Club. Go see you in the day.
Appreciate y'all.
Hi, I'm Trey Chapman, publisher of Trey'sChowdown.com. I'm passionate about finding the best food, drinks, and chefs and sharing it all with you. I should know I have over 5 decades of food experience. Find me on any podcast platform, Facebook Live, or just Google me. Now you can watch and listen to all my great finds every week on my live TV and radio podcast at Trey's Chowdown Live.